everybody, and welcome back to Barely Filtered. We have a very special guest today. It's my sister. I don't know if her name is still Sophia because now she has bangs. Have you changed your name again?
I do think I have an alter ego with these bangs, and it should be Thea.
Pia. Yes, I knew that she was having some kind of an identity crisis. Pia.
Yeah, it works. Minus the H.
Yeah, but I guess, no, you can't Phia though, so it'd be Fia.
Yeah.
But I guess you could do Pia. Okay, anyway, so tell us about what inspired the bangs.
I'm not going to lie. I went to get my hair cut like usual, and it was a rogue decision.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like that's not like you to just whip out something like really impulsive and, I don't know, fun, shall I say?
Let me tell you, I have a comb in my purse. There's nothing about these that are free or fun.
Really?
I literally have to go like that all the time. No, but they're actually not as hard as I thought they would be. Everybody's afraid to get bangs, but last time I went to go get my haircut, I was like, I want to do curtain bangs. And they were basically just like the same thing that I always do, like angles. And so this time I was like, give me bangs.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, let's meet in the middle. And I was like, okay, good. Okay. And then that got me.
I think they look good. But you look kind of like a singer-songwriter, which I know
I just came from a studio session.
Yeah, I know. I know that Mom came over to my house the other day and was like, Sophie and Gus's new song is really good. Have you heard it? And I'm like, Sophie and Gus's song? What?
I know. No, it actually it's a good song. I'm not going to lie.
Can you give us a little sneak peek?
There is one part where it goes, this is Mom's favorite line. Vanilla bean on Tuesday. Good night for a stargaze. Vanilla bean. Come on.
Yeah,
you know
Vanilla Bean. She actually told me that already. She told me that
she would hate the song if Vanilla Bean wasn't in it.
It sounds very cute and like kind of like Taylor Swift's like older songs.
You know, the hardest thing that I've encountered with all of this is like, what is your style and what is your genre? Like, I listen to everything. I could do anything. So it's like,
but I know what your style is. You like a singer-songwriter kind of like, but you like a little bit of like a sad girl. You like a sad girl song.
I love a sad girl song. And actually, people that like sad songs aren't necessarily like sad or depressed. They actually tend to be more emotionally intelligent.
Okay, I kind of believe that. I believe that.
I would rather listen to a sad song than like one margarita and I put it in my butt.
Is that how it goes?
That's a song. Come on, that's a song, right?
One margarita, I put it in my butt.
That's a song. Get with the times. It's Lizzo.
Lizzo?
Margarita, put it in my butt?
Yes.
We're going to look that up because we're
one margarita.
How do you put a margarita? Oh, I get it. You don't put the margarita in your butt.
Give me a Rita. I'm going to open my legs. Give me some tequila. I'm going to give you some head. I'm about to get freaky tonight. Oh, maybe it's not in the butt.
I thought you were saying she puts the margarita in her butt.
Wait. No. Give me 5 margaritas. I'm going to put it in my tush.
Yeah. So it was just,
my bad.
Basically, she's like, you get me a little tipsy and I'll say okay to anal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
okay, I get it.
Can I actually say something funny that did happen this week? It's not funny that my car got broken into, but we were like walking on the side, literally West Hollywood, and there was like, it definitely came from like a sex toy box, and it was like a butt plug or something. And it said like, let's have fun, some pun about, butt stuff. And Michael put it in my center console, and my car got broken into the other day. They took everything, but the one thing that they left on my seat was that little card.
Was the butt plug? Oh my God.
It wasn't an actual butt plug.
So they were like, we're going to rob this bitch, but
we know what you're up to.
We're still going to let you have a good time. You can just,
it was like, stickers, merch that come with like toys. Like it was like sex toy merch that he like just put in my center console, and it was like all over my car. And I was like, what if my mom got in the car today? And it was
oh my God. Well,
like,
does it look like would somebody who doesn't do butt stuff know that it's a butt plug?
It's just like the pamphlet.
Oh, it wasn't. He didn't get you an actual butt plug.
No, it was literally like a.
It was like if you wanted to send away for one, you could.
it was like if you send away for one and it comes in the mail, and it's like the warranty slip, and it has like a
pun. Where did he get it?
It was literally on the ground, and he was like, he was like, think on this, and like put it in my car.
Okay. Speaking of Michael and your relationship,
no, that's not why I got bangs. So many people were like, she's single.
That's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
No, people think that you got bangs and that's why, and then you're single?
So many people think a girl cuts their hair and it's like, she's going through something, she's single.
I know. Yeah, I know. When I cut my hair short, people were like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, and I was like,
this doesn't mean I'm going through a crisis just because I wanted to cut my hair.
It was an artistic decision I made.
Yes, you're a singer-songwriter. You have a lot of emotions.
I'm feeling things.
Clearly, she has bangs. She has a lot of feelings.
Put it in
5 margaritas. We are classy ladies.
5 margaritas and she'll... Okay.
And it's tush.
Yeah.
Margaritas. I'm going to put it in my tush.
Wow.
Imagine if mom's like, let me hear your new song. And that's the song I play her.
Mom came to my house and told me you created a lovely song with Gus about 5 margaritas and I put it in my tush.
After Vanilla Bean on Tuesdays.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I don't know if dairy is the right choice before that. Okay, so I'm going to fill you in on a little bit of gossip about myself. I got a new boyfriend and it says not like I just picked one up at the store. You know, we've been dating for like 2.5 months now, I guess. And we kind of went official. And
I know you did. You did hashtag LOML on Instagram.
Right. Okay. So kind of jokingly, I was in Miami and we took like a cute picture and I did hashtag LOML, which is love of my life. Like, obviously, I'm not an insane person. And maybe that's not quite obvious to people, but like, I know that like we've only known each other for maybe whatever, a certain number of months.
I texted you this, so we have it on record. But I was like, even if it feels perfect, do not, and this goes for everyone, whether you are in the public eye or not in the public eye and you're just dating someone new, keep it off social media for as long as you can.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I think, and I totally get it. Everybody gets so excited. You want to share what you're so excited about. And for me, especially like with Michael, like I was so adamant about I will never have another public relationship because I did not want to have to deal with the outside world having an opinion on your relationship and also adding pressure of like, this feels wrong, especially if like, God forbid, if you're in a toxic situation and then you have followers being like, but you guys are so perfect. Oh my God. It's an unhealthy parasocial relationship with people that ends up making you excuse poor behaviors to keep this image up, and you can ignore red flags. And also, just because it's perfect for the first 2.5 months, like you just never know who someone can turn into. And that sounds super, I understand, like paranoid and like negative and unromantic, but you don't want to have to explain to millions of people online as to why this person isn't actually as perfect as you pretended that they were.
Right. Well, right now I kind of feel like I'm like the boy who cried wolf in relationships anyway.
Or
people like don't really believe me. They're just like, some of the comments were actually pretty mean. It was one guy was like, love of my life number what? And I'm like, excuse me. My last boyfriend, if you want to call him that, which was Paul Vernon, I guess boyfriend. He was the only person I've dated for longer than like a month. And that was last summer. That's why I'm a little irked when Olivia was like, okay, she was like, Aurora, it's too soon for that. But then even after that, in our private conversation, she was like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I don't even know if she said this. Maybe I'm just projecting. But I got the impression that she was like, oh, you're like, just take a break. Why are you always dating somebody? I'm not always dating somebody.
So this is the problem, though, because people who follow you, they feel like to watch someone's life through your screen, they remember things vividly, and like they're not there for the day-to-day. They're not there for the 4 or 5 months that you spent on your own. They just remember the last guy you dated. But like that will just never make sense to people. And so unfortunately, because you do have this following, like if you want to keep a clean reputation, like you've got to keep things private because people only want to use things against you.
Yeah, I guess it's true. People only remember the highlights. I don't know. And that is true. It kind of reminds me of like sharing a pregnancy and then like, God forbid, having to untell people, like, because that's happened to me before where like I was pregnant and then I had a miscarriage at like, 12 weeks when like you think you're not going to have it. But then you have to like untelling people is almost like the worst part. Obviously that like people have a lot more sympathy towards that, but having to untell about a relationship does feel like a death.
It is the worst.
Except you don't get the sympathy.
Fear of mine, actually.
Yeah, really?
I'm just traumatized from like letting people in on your very personal relationships.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we share our lives. Like I tried to not share Michael for the first few months and I would like crop his thumb out of a picture. And then I was like, this isn't working. And also we would get like Dumois. Well, this happened when I was dating someone else, Dumois posting about us. And I was like, oh my God, like how am I supposed to do what I do and then like have this side of my life that I don't share, but also I really don't ever want to let people in on that side of my life again.
Who did you go on a date with?
What do you mean? That was when I was dating Eggplant.
I don't even know who the Eggplant person is still. You still don't? Oh, okay.
Because my breakup was so public, then people wanted to know, well, who are you dating now?
Oh.
And it was at the Wanamoise Country Club.
Oh, in
it was like,
Rhode Island?
Who the heck is sending Dumois hits out from this
that's
event?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, evidently.
And that bothered me even more, like people letting things out on their terms. And so then when I was like official with Michael, I was like, well, you know what? I'd rather it come from me than anyone else. But even like, I still don't really tag him. Like I don't. No, I don't. And it's not because I'm not insecure that girls are going to be like after my boyfriend, because I really do believe if you can take him, he's yours.
Yeah.
Don't want him.
Yeah, that's true.
But there is something to say. Like Michael jokes, he calls it like the hot girl complex. Like if a hot girl dates a guy, he's instantly hotter, and then other girls want him. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. Like I don't want that to happen.
Other girls
to me.
want. Oh, interesting.
And I'm not. It's true. If I see a guy single, not in a relationship, and like he has a beautiful past like girlfriend, whatever, I'm like, all right, you got something to bring to the table.
I think it's the Pete Davidson complex, maybe, or syndrome or something.
I don't know what it is, but I just think it makes sense and it's true. And as much as we don't want to admit it, like that's a thing that girls do.
Yeah, that is weird. I have no idea. Because why do you want somebody's sloppy seconds? But anyway.
But it doesn't always have to be a sloppy second. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you, I'm like, perfect circumstances, you meet a guy, he's single, you're single, and then you find out that, like, he has a ex-girlfriend who, like, this might make some people insecure. For me, it actually kind of makes me feel like I did something right, you know? Of like, oh, you can get a nice girl for yourself. Like, you're doing something right. Versus, like, if your ex-girlfriends are all, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Psycho, burning your house down. I don't know. That'd be a red flag. Maybe I'm picking wrong.
Right.
You know?
Okay, that makes sense. So I have a question for you because I was having a little bit of I was having a rough time for a minute there because the guy that I started dating got out of a long-term relationship.
I remember this.
Well, hold on. Let me tell the story because not everybody knows what I'm going to say. So the guy I started dating got out of a 10-year relationship last summer. And, he's not somebody who's really on social media a lot. So he posts.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Love that.
Well, no, you don't. Okay, because let me finish my story.
Hate that. I don't.
The problem is that because he doesn't post a lot, his whole feed was like him and this girl.
Where you were going.
And it's like, they had a very long relationship. So like a lot of the things that he did, obviously they were together. And so whenever I would look at his Instagram, it's just like, it looks like he's still kind of in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I called him out. And, I didn't call him out. First, I asked ChatGPT
I love ChatGPT.
What exactly I should say. I was like, and I'm over here like, because I voice text. So I'm just like, okay, hey, Chat. Like, I feel like he's my best friend, Chat. And I'm like, here's what's going on. I started dating this guy, and Chat's like, congratulations, Aurora. We're so happy to hear you're in a new relationship. This is such a great thing for you to ask us right now. So, or ask me. I don't know if it's a person, many people. Anyway, so they gave me this whole thing to say to him. So I was like, can we talk? Which automatically puts a man on the defense, I've learned, which you should never be like,
Depends on the guy.
And so anyway, I just built it up into this big dramatic thing. And then when I presented it to him, I was just like, it makes me feel like to see this, like you're presenting yourself to the world like you're not moved on. And it makes me feel uncomfortable. And like, do you mind basically scrubbing her from me?
I know.
And he didn't take it that well. But his first reaction was like, He's like, she's not even on there anymore. I already like went through and got rid of everything. He's like, you'd have to be like Sherlock Holmes detective to be able to find her. And I'm like, that's actually not true. But like, she wasn't like, she was like maybe not the main photo, but like maybe the second one or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I remember this in the group chat. And this is, every girl has a group chat where you have like all your friends. There's always the hype queen friend. That's
did I ask you that?
It was me, Olivia, and Erica.
Oh, okay.
And Erica, if you're listening, Erica was being the hype queen. She was like, anything you feel is valid. You do what you need. And I'm over there like, not true. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because
I know Olivia is always the one who's like, Aurora, this is probably not going to work out anyway. So just leave. I know.
Olivia doesn't have the best delivery always. Especially right now. I feel like she's like just pregnant and just doesn't. She's like, I have a baby to grow. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But Erica was like, send anything you want. Like, absolutely. I didn't agree with Erica's advice. And I was like, dial it back.
Yeah, you were like, how many months has it been? At that time, it had only been like,
it had only been 2 months. But also like, 10 years of this guy's life, that's significant.
Right.
And to come in, like, I do feel like he is entitled to respecting his past relationship.
Right.
Even though it's over.
Right.
And also to pretend that somebody who was in your life for 10 years wasn't there would be even more of a red flag. Would be more of a red flag.
No, that's true. It really was all me and not him. Although I did have like a dating coach tell me, listen, if this is one of the things that makes you feel, if one of the things you need to feel secure in a relationship is to not have someone's social media have their ex on it, then that's totally valid, because social media actually is whether or not you like it, it is a representation of yourself to the world.
Yeah.
So some people might find a problem with that. However, he has every right to be like, I'm not willing to do that. She's somebody who I cared about for a long time and still care about, maybe. Like, you don't, and
if he didn't, that'd be a red flag.
Yeah, that'd be totally, which is true. And so the terms that I came to in myself is that, like, what is my actual fear? And I guess the fear really is that because he still has her up, maybe he still has feelings for her. And then I really had to think about that. I'm like, do I know that that's true? Like, I don't know that that's true 100%. All I know is what he's showing me and telling me. And so I have a choice. Like, am I going to believe that, or am I going to believe something that I've made up in my head?
I think, like, personally, from personal experience, if he's willing to talk to you about an ex and like tell you about her and like not even try to hide that she's still somewhat on his Instagram, that is so much more, that's more of a positive than a negative, in the sense that, like, he's not hiding anything from his past. I think it'd be way shadier if he was like,
who? I never even heard of her.
I don't like to talk about past relationships because I feel like that really disrespects you. Meanwhile, it's because, like, you're actually still in communication with your ex, which, like, I've dealt with that situation.
Okay.
And it's just, I personally would rather them be, like, an open book, not hiding anything. And then, I didn't have an issue that you brought it up. It's the timing. I would have waited until things were, like, a little more significant, like
That's
6
true.
months. I would have been like, all right, this is clearly, like, significant in our life. Now, can you take her off of your Instagram?
I really did try to. That's not my. Like, waiting
Aries
is not my
energy
strong
of you.
suit. Yeah, I don't.
You lit that shit on
I didn't
fire.
even wait until the next morning.
I know
he
you
went to
didn't.
bed, and I was like, we have to talk about something.
You actually didn't wait for my response. Like,
Yeah.
I was writing my paragraph, and then you were like, so I just got off the phone with him. I was like, no.
Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't say, like, we have to talk. I was just like, because the thing is, too, everything was going so. I feel like, girl, I don't know if I'm the only person. I can't be the only person in the world who does this, but, like, when you feel like things are going so well, you have to find, like, one thing that, like, could make it even better. And, like, I feel like we had just come off this amazing weekend together. We, like, we just, like, I felt so connected to him, and I was like, the one thing that's just, like, annoying me a little bit is, like, I just don't want to see him, like, on this romantic vacation with his girlfriend that was, like, 4 years ago. And so I thought that he'd just be like, oh, yeah, no problem, babe. Like, I don't need to understand, like, that. I don't get it, but, like, if that's how you feel, I'll get rid of it. But, like, he didn't really take it like that. He was like, hold up. Like,
I've had that happen to me before, where, like, I'm like, why do I have to remove this? Like,
oh, somebody asked you to?
Yeah, it's like from high school.
Nobody
like,
has ever
cares?
asked me to remove stuff.
I attract a type of man that, like, I cannot have a past. And it
really? Well, maybe now that you have bangs, you're going to attract a new type of. Just kidding.
No, I mean, honestly, like, Michael has been, I think because he's older and he's been so understanding, but I've dated guys where it's just like, they feel like they own your past too. And I'm like, this person was like, first of all, not only is it so far done and, like, the door is closed, but, like, still, like, in my life, because, like, friends with my brother, like, I can't just pretend he doesn't exist.
Right.
And it's caused so many issues with past relationships where it's like, won't come to family parties because he might be there. And I'm like, I can't control that. Can we please try to find, a way to make this okay? And it would be like, you can never speak to him. You can't do that. And it's like, you do what you can to make your partner feel secure. But I do think as you get older, and I think this is, like, a thing for guys too, like, they learn to just tone that down a little bit because it never gets you what you want. It causes issues.
That's so interesting because I never attract a guy like that.
Always
and
do.
I feel like I want them to be a little bit more. Like,
no, you don't.
He literally
trust me.
said to me, he was like, Aurora, you know that you were married before. Like, you have 2 kids. You talk to your ex every day.
That's what I said to
and
you.
then he scrolled down and he was like, and it's true. I still had my wedding photos
Wait,
up.
I have
like,
to
I didn't even I did not even look at my own Instagram because in my head, like, that's so far in the past and I'm so over it. But it's interesting that like, I don't even think of that.
I'm literally.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for.
If you're looking for something of me and my ex, then I went through and cleared all the evidence.
No, when we were all texting back and forth, I have to read. Oh yeah, I said, it's good that he took them down. Also try to work on not being so caught up on her. You have way more significant memories with Mikey, parentheses, living and breathing ones, your children.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, that's a lot harder, I think to deal with.
I think the conclusion that I came to is just that, like, you can't believe, like, stories that you're jumping to conclusions about in your head. You can only believe what someone's telling you and what someone's showing you. And that's what I'm trying to really just focus on. And honestly, as we've gotten closer and stuff, like, I don't really care as much about that. I don't know. But now I'm like, I don't know if
that's the point, though.
If I went through his camera, I would never go through his phone, but like, he has all of his photos from the last 10 years, I'm sure.
See, this is how my brain works, though. And I do think it's like, maybe it's not typical, but like, I'm 28, you're 35.
Yeah.
Like, we're dating at a time where your partner is going to have a significant past. To pretend that they don't and to tell yourself, he never really loved her is bullshit. Yes, he did. He's had a past. Hate to break it to you girls, he's had sex before you. Like, it's reality.
I know.
Accept it just like you have. You've loved other people. You fucked other people.
How dare you?
I am a virgin.
I am a mother.
Like, it's
Virgin
just
Mary.
a fact that you can't change. So, like, why are we going to let it ruin the moment? Like, I mean, think about any person that you've used to be, like, insanely in love with that you're not anymore. Like, you know that you genuinely don't have feelings for that person. Like, give them that same grace. Like, we cannot pretend that these people don't have a past.
It's true. It be true. However, it is tough sometimes. I think it's harder in the beginning of a relationship because you're not really, you're still trying to find your footing and you're not really, I think for me, I wasn't like totally sure what the deal was with that. It's been like, you know.
I mean, 10 years is a significant
It's a long time
relationship.
and they didn't really break up that long ago.
Were they married?
No, they were never married, which also for me, it's like, for some reason, I feel like my situation felt more final because it's like, oh, we tried to be married, it didn't work. And then we, you know, now we're not going to try again. But I guess people really do. Like, people go back to their ex-wives and stuff. And so, yeah, you have to give people the grace that they give you, which I mean, like, and I didn't really think about that. And he was like, well, I mean, you've had kids before with somebody, like, that'll never be your first time. You've been married, like, you've had a wedding.
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, I don't think you can say anything yet about these photos.
I know,
because
like,
you
I
have
guess
kids with another man. Not that that's like the why you can't, but it's just don't ruffle fat. Like, he's not making things an issue out of.
Yeah, but isn't that interesting that you always attract guys who like are jealous? I think it's because you kind of have more of like an avoidant.
100%.
And I'm more of an anxious attached.
100%.
So they're not like, people are not really worried about me. Like,
I don't know what it is, but I mean, Olivia, and you'll say it all the time, like, I'm not a jealous person.
You're like you're a black cat is what they call in the dating world.
I'm 100% a black cat and I'm dating a golden retriever, which makes, and I've always dated golden retrievers and they're like,
see, I've always been the golden retriever, and the guy has always been the black cat, and I'm always like,
no, I'm a black cat, and I think it bothers it's bothered partners of mine that I like don't get jealous.
Do you even care?
But I'm like, I can't change the past. I can't change the past.
No,
it bothers me. If you lie to me, that bothers me. But like, to think that like you don't love me as much because you had a girlfriend before me is like, that's just going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think that's true. So you've never been jealous of a boyfriend's ex, or been like a little bit like, you never like looked at her Instagram and felt insecure or anything?
I had one. She wasn't even technically like an ex-girlfriend, but it was an ex like hookup that we would run into, and I felt that the story was off. And she would watch all of my stories, but didn't follow me, blocked my boyfriend, who I was dating at the time. And the story never added up. And I was like, I don't believe you. And then this person like brought in a friend to back him up. Like, he'll prove that she's crazy. And yeah, she was in fact not crazy.
How did it even get to that? Because you were like, I want proof.
because I ended up, universe has your back. I ended up at an event. She was a model with her. And she was so kind. She came up to me. She was like, hey, like, we know who each other are. Like, we know each other. And I just want to, like, I don't want it to be uncomfortable. Like, she was just, like, so honest. And, and I was like, this girl isn't crazy. And immediately I was just like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was, like, an overlap thing. And I was just like, that's the type of stuff that bothers me when you're not being honest or when, like, I just feel like that's...
See, and that's never happened to me. I've never been, like... I've never caught anybody. See, the things that I've ever made up in my mind have never like come to fruition, and then I catch the person or something. Like, you know, I mean, I guess with my marriage, he was unfaithful, but I never thought he was. Like, it never occurred to me.
I mean, I've been in situations where I really couldn't have seen an outcome coming out the way it did, but also to say like, oh, you should have been able to see something that someone was trying so hard to hide. Like, that's not on you. Somebody was lying to you. Somebody was manipulating you. Like,
right. That's the thing. It's like, you can only believe people. I have a friend right now who was dating somebody for a few months, and the guy like kind of just like blindsided her with like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And she's so shocked. And I think the worst thing about being shocked about something like that is it just makes you kind of question yourself and your ability to choose and your ability to like gauge the situation, and
you don't trust yourself after. I think that's one of the cruelest things of just either whether you've been cheated on or like really just continuously lied to. You can't trust yourself going forward.
Yeah.
I remember, this is so embarrassing. I asked Sophie Dellerman if Michael was a narcissist because he kept telling me that I was pretty.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm being love bombed again. Like, it's
You're
been
like,
3
don't
months.
you call me pretty.
It's been 3 months and he still says I'm beautiful. Like, it was, and he found out, and I was so embarrassed.
Why? How?
Because Sophie's boyfriend is best friends with Michael.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he brought it up in just such like a silly way. He was like, and he brought it up like a little bit of time after the fact, so it wasn't like as embarrassing. But because I didn't trust that I could like.
Meanwhile, you have your checklist out, your like narcissist checklist.
No, fully. I was still in therapy. I was like, how's this? Is this okay, doc? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, green flag.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. But I don't even think somebody needs to be like a liar, manipulator, narcissist, cheat. Like, they don't need to be like malicious in order to blindside you. And like, sometimes people can date you and then all of a sudden like have a change of heart, or they like didn't realize they weren't ready. Like, there's a lot of things that can make people shift, and it's just as painful.
Breaking up is a hard thing to do.
Right.
Say you just like lose feelings for someone, but you've still spent so much time with them and like you still love them. Like, how do you break that person's heart? That is horrible.
Right.
And
but I think it makes the person on the receiving end also feel like, shit, how did I not see the signs? Because I felt so safe with this person. Like, I thought that they liked me so much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, there's like no easy way to do it, but there is a right way to do it. And I think it's just like,
it's no contact. I think cold turkey is the right way to break any bond.
No, you have to go. I feel like in a breakup, if you can go no contact. Otherwise, how are you supposed to break that bond? But to like, I don't know. I've never been like out of the blue, like, I'm done with you.
Really?
Bye.
I mean, I've never felt that. You mean like it's never, that's the thing. I don't think it's out of the blue for the person initiating the breakup ever, right? Like, it's not like,
I don't know. I can't I'm trying to think like
the thing that I think I've experienced and that my friend is experiencing now is this kind of like phenomenon of the avoidant man who comes on really strong, but like they can only last for about 2 months in that. And then the minute you let your guard down and kind of like show them that you're interested and vulnerable, it's like an ick to them. And then they're like, never mind, I'm out. Like, you're taking this way too seriously. And then they're like, I don't think I'm ready. And it's always the I don't think I'm ready people who just like, because they didn't want a relationship. They wanted a feeling. They wanted the feeling of a new person, of excitement. And they tricked you. And I mean, maybe not on purpose. I don't think necessarily they're self-aware, but I think it happens a lot.
I actually just saw this interview with Anna Kendrick on Call Her Daddy, and she was talking about like she was in like a 7-year abusive relationship, And she kept asking herself, which is very common in abusive relationships, am I the problem? Like, am I the narcissist?
Right.
Wait, no, but he said it was my fault. Like, maybe I was the one that did that.
Right.
And she was saying part of the reason that made her so confused into like wondering if she really was the problem was because he wholeheartedly believed he wasn't the problem.
Right.
It's pathological. And like, if someone is really believing these things that they're saying, like, and you're an empathetic person, like, you're going to self-reflect on that. And you're like, well, he really, really was upset by that. So maybe I did do something.
Yeah, I think, but I don't think you have to be pathological. Like, I think most people that we have these, stints with are not like Dateline narcissists. They're just people who might also have full conviction on how they feel. Like, I know what you're saying, and I think it is true. Like a lot, especially I think a lot of women are like, if the man is more convicted, then they're like, okay, then maybe he's right because like I don't have like my feelings are not that convicted. Like maybe it's me that's the problem. So I think that dynamic can happen. But for the most part, I think it's the avoidant that just like comes on strong and then pulls back. It doesn't have to be the man either. I feel like I've been that person, especially right out of my marriage. Like when you like when you're like, okay, maybe I'm ready now. Like you want, and then you find somebody and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then like all of a sudden you get to like, this feels way too real, too fast. And then you're like, I need to pull back.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a normal breakup. You can feel it coming. Like I've had relationships that just like fizzle out and like you can see it coming. You can feel it coming. Like the feelings just aren't there anymore.
Right.
And then you have to have a hard conversation.
Right.
Versus if someone if something ends abruptly or blows up, like either you were missing signs or, I feel like that usually involves cheating. If somebody all of a sudden is just like with another person. Yeah, that's
I feel
abrupt.
like you are so like not confrontational. I can't imagine you like initiating a hard conversation.
I see that's funny because like with you guys in the family dynamic, I'm the youngest of 5. I'm not going to initiate shit. No one's going to listen. But like with my partners,
I'll be like, shut up.
No, actually, with my like boyfriends, I actually tend to be.
Oh, yeah, you are the black cat.
I'm the black cat, and I am very like. It takes a lot to piss me off, and it takes a lot to make me mad. But I'm like, if you annoy me, like I'm gonna say something,
right?
And
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what the black cat is, just so people know.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. You can continue.
No, I was just going to say, like, in my current relationship, Michael is, like, such a good communicator that he's the one to more voice things. But also, like, I'm not a very sensitive person. So if you hurt my feelings, like, I don't really need an apology from you. Like, 9 out of 10 times, like, it's either something you take personally and then, like, the next day you don't really care as much. So you don't need the apology.
I don't know. I'm hearing mom in your voice. So she's like, oh, no, I don't need an apology. I don't need that. I feel like I wouldn't go around promoting that. Like, you do
depends
need
on what
an apology.
It totally depends on the, like.
You deserve an apology whether or not you need it because it's more for the other person to acknowledge that they were in the wrong, right?
You know what's funny? I feel like the universe really gives you, like, a bunch of just different lessons and different people in your life because Michael is like, it's just such a new experience for me still. And we've been together 1.5 years where like, I'm not even kidding. We went to bed last night, 2 nights ago, and he was stressed about the stuff that he didn't get done that day. And I was like, okay, like he's kind of just stressed, whatever. I'm just going to go to bed. Didn't think anything of it. My feelings were not hurt. I woke up the next morning. He's like, I just, I really want to say I'm sorry about that. Like, I feel like I was taking it out on you and you didn't deserve that. And I'm like,
what you talk about?
Yeah. I want dinner tonight. He's so good at like making sure like everything comes across the way that he wants it to. And like that's always been the dynamic in our relationship. And he's really taught me how to communicate like.
Oh, that's good.
Versus being in relationships where like everything is taken offensively if you voice a concern. So like you just learn not to say anything. And now I'm in this polar opposite where it's like, he'll apologize for things I didn't even know happened.
Yeah. Well, I think that's because you're the black cat and he's the golden retriever in this dynamic. It doesn't need,
for sure.
I don't think you need to be that in every dynamic, but I do feel like, so this is what the black cat is. The black cat is more of the mysterious and reserved and emotionally complex partner. I don't know if I actually would say emotionally complex, but I think maybe more emotionally reserved. Shows love in quieter, more subtle ways. Black cat energy chooses who they end up to. Okay. So think black cat energy. They choose who they open up to, but they're fiercely loyal once they do. I don't know. I don't actually think
I actually have a problem with being fiercely loyal. I need to work on it.
Oh, you do?
Absolutely. I've never been in a relationship that wasn't like, my first relationship in high school was a year.
Yeah.
At 15.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you wouldn't even like go to prom with people.
But I have a problem with being fiercely loyal to the point where I date people for like such a long time, because to me, this, like what some people get that like hit a dopamine from like the honeymoon phase. Like I get it from longevity.
Oh,
so
you
like,
are a boy. I feel like that's how
am I a boy?
I feel like that's like more of like the man thing in the relationship that like over time.
And I think that's why I end up
built.
getting so hurt in the end, because I'm like, but we were together for so long. Like we had so many memories.
Yeah.
Like to me, and this is kind of why I think I erred on the side of like with your boyfriend and like his
So you
past.
never get like blown away in the beginning of a relationship?
No, of course I do.
Oh.
Of course I do. But like we all know also that kind of scares me a little bit now when you're like blown away in the beginning, because that can be toxic in the way that like you stay because you're like, no, we can get back to how it was in the beginning. Like it will happen again. Like we can get back to that. Meanwhile, like that was never real.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what's real is commitment and loyalty, and like to be able to turn your back on someone that you dedicated so much time to, that makes no sense in my brain. Right. And like if you're no longer romantically in love with someone, obviously like it makes sense, like you have to part ways. But to then like never ever communicate with them for the rest of your life, scrub them from your Instagram, like never say their name or I'm gonna break up with you, like that to me is where I'm like, that's not even, you're not a real person if you function that way.
Yeah, no, you have a point. You do have a point.
I'm not saying like keeping contact
it is kind
with all
of
your
interesting
exes,
too,
but
because like as I'm getting to know this guy more too, it's like she comes up like the way that he knows women has been from her for the last 10 years. So like we just like the littlest things, like we were talking about like fake eyelashes before, and he's like, oh yeah, I used to see these, like he's always kind of like trying to choose his words like so that he doesn't offend me, but like I'm not going to be offended that you.
Well, you did
like,
ask him to scrub her. So.
I know. So now, so now I've created this like awkward dynamic, and now I'm keep trying to backtrack because he's like, you know, he has like he's like, do you want to go camping here? Or do you want to go to this place? And I'm like, have you ever been there before? And he'll be like, no. And I'm like, it's fine.
No, it's always like,
if you've been there before.
If it's a friend, it's someone that you've had relations with. And if it's my friend, it's an actual friend. Yeah.
It's like, it's odd dating later in life when people have, you know, like, they know their favorite hotels. They know their favorite like romantic restaurants. They know and they've experienced that, or their favorite travel spots too. I'm like, are we gonna go to Antarctica because like there's nowhere else you haven't been?
I know.
Okay. Well, anyway, new thing that we're saying and that my new boyfriend says to me is when I'm talking too much, he says it's time to land this plane.
It's time to land this plane. Oh my God, Michael's gonna use that now because I do have a way of telling a short story long.
It was like a meme. He's not that mean, but
we need to land this plane.
It was a meme, and he's like, the meme said something about like how, basically we need to normalize telling people they need to land this plane. What do you think the etiquette is on texting an ex?
Never text an ex that you've
really?
No, not that
Don't
kind of
text an ex?
No. Okay, sorry. Let me. Okay. In general, do you text an ex like, my college ex, his father was like the chief of the Arizona Fire Department for 30 years. So when the fires were happening, I was like, what do I do? Like, that is literally an emergency. Like,
you texted your ex or you texted your ex's father?
Both.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just like, what
did your
the
current
protocol?
boyfriend think about that?
He didn't love it, but also it wasn't like I was like,
you up?
Miss you. Like, no, I was literally like, California was burning to a crisp. And I was like, do I turn my air conditioning on? They're saying to keep it going. And he's like, absolutely not. Turn off your air conditioning. Get this mask. Like, get out if you can. Yeah. So things like that where it's just like, I don't think you need to pretend people are dead, especially if it's like respectful conversation. Right. If you're texting an ex just to like catch up and you're in a relationship, that's, I think, weird.
I do think it's weird too. Like, what do you think about people who say, well, I'm friends with my ex now. Like, we're just friends now. We tried to date, it didn't work.
See, that's really hard because I have exes that like I would be friends with if I could.
Right.
But like because of past relationships, it was like an absolute hard no that now like we have no contact. And it's kind of sad because it's like there was no reason that I should have had to like make you dead to me. Like,
Right.
you know, like it's just sad.
Well, but I don't know. So I have an ex that I dated literally in high school, but I know that he like I know he's trying to date, at least hook up, maybe not date.
Well,
but
then
like,
that's a no.
Right. But he's like, let's just go get like coffee as friends. But like you kind of always know if one person wants a little bit.
You can always
more.
tell. But this is really sums it up. This is what upsets me if you're in a relationship where somebody is like not trusting you for no reason,
mm-hmm.
and you're making it very clear to them like there's nothing to be worried about, and like, you know, there's nothing here that was years ago. And if they don't listen to you and they vilify you just because like, and you're being communicative, I feel like that's not fair. But I also get like,
but are you texting your ex?
No, I'm saying like if an ex was like, hey, do you want it? Can we get coffee?
Right.
And your partner was saying no, even though there's like no reason for them. Say that you're like, my ex is in a relationship for like 4 years now. Like
right.
He's getting engaged, you know, like if he wanted to get a cup of coffee, I would feel controlled if I wasn't allowed to.
I don't know. In my head, I'm like, why do you want to get coffee with you?
I mean, it depends. It definitely depends on the situation. And I'm not saying I would say yes. These are like hypotheticals, but I just feel like to be like you can never. I think you are a little bit jealous. I'm like I've said I'm not. But then if I think about like, okay, actually, if Michael got coffee with one of his exes who he dated for like 4 years, I trust him fully. Like I really, really do.
Oh, for sure. I guess maybe
I
just in the beginning of a relationship.
Yeah, I don't want to be the girlfriend that's like, you can't ever, like, that makes me feel actually worse. But at the same time, I've allowed things in the past that like I was wrong about and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know that my ex's ex spent Thanksgiving with his family while we were together and I had no fucking idea.
Your ex's ex spent Thanksgiving with his family? Did he spend Thanksgiving with them too?
No, he and I were together and his ex-girlfriend was just like chilling with his family.
Oh, that's weird.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think there is.
I just feel like I should have known.
I think there's
Pass the gravy. You know?
I think there's ex etiquette, and I'm definitely not the authority on that. But I think it's good to know if you lean like a little jealous or not. But I also feel like you need to, you know, express what makes you feel comfortable. And even if it's something that, you know, I think you can also preface things with being like, this is just a feeling that I'm having. I'm not saying this is reality, but this is like what I'm feeling. And then that gives the other person the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm hearing that you're having that feeling. And then be like,
yeah. I think how they respond says everything. Like, like we've mentioned this before. Like there was like an ex in my life who's like part-ish of our family.
Yeah.
And it's like the person I date has to make that okay. You know, like we have to find a way to make it okay.
Right.
It's possible. It's possible to get to a place where it's like all good. Everyone knows there's no feelings. We've all moved forward.
You're right.
And that comes with maturity. And like, if you really want your relationship to work, you can make it work.
Yeah, you got to get over things.
You got to get over certain things.
If I want my relationship to work, imagine if I never got over the fact that he had a 10-year relationship. Like then I would not be able to be in a relationship with him.
I don't want you to talk to Mikey. Like, what are you going to do? That's the father of your children.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that you have to get over.
There are certain things you have to get over. Okay, so on that note, you probably shouldn't text your ex unless it's an emergency or you have children with them. Being friends with an ex, I would say probably
there's a fine line.
Maybe if it was such a long time ago and both people are so very much moved on, even then, I just don't know. There's a lot of people to be friends with in the world. Does it have to be your ex?
There's a way to be respectful about it.
Yeah. I think that. I do think that too. And I don't know, maybe you can ask yourself, are you the black cat or are you the golden retriever in your relationship? And do you feel like it can change?
No, I don't think
you're always a black cat or you're always
I'm a Scorpio. I cannot be a golden retriever. I don't think so.
No. Yeah, you're probably right. You can't.
And also maybe we wait until 6 months to bring out the crazy.
Oh yeah. Don't show all your cards right away. Try not to. Okay, we're going to land this plane. We are going to land this plane right now. We're going to wrap it up. Okay, Sophie, thank you so much for being a guest on Barely Filtered. We love having you here at the Barely Filtered community. Thank you so much, and we will.
You can still vote.
Don't call us. We'll call you.